As the clock struck midnight, signaling the start of my night shift at Greenfield Hospital, a sense of eeriness crawled over me. The hospital corridors, usually bustling with activity, were now eerily quiet, bathed in the dim glow of flickering fluorescent lights. I took a deep breath and began my rounds, making my way through the maze-like hallways towards room 304. Room 304 had been empty for weeks, a fact that had been etched into my mind after numerous checks on the patient log. But as I drew closer, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was not quite right. The air in the corridor seemed thicker, charged with an unseen tension that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. I hesitated at the door to room 304, my hand hovering over the handle. The room beyond was shrouded in darkness, the only sound the soft hum of the air conditioning unit. But then, barely audible above the hum, I heard it, a faint shuffling noise, like the sound of someone moving quietly across the room. My heart thudded in my chest as a chill ran down my spine. I pushed open the door and stepped into the room, my eyes scanning the empty bed, the clean white walls, the silent machines. And then I heard it, whispers, soft and indistinct, coming from the far corner of the room. Pulse quickening, I crossed the room, my footsteps echoing in the silence. As I drew closer to the source of the whispers, they grew louder, more urgent. And then I saw them, shadows dancing on the wall, twisting and writhing in a macabre ballet of darkness. I reached out a trembling hand, my fingers brushing against the wall, but there was nothing there, just smooth, cold plaster. But the whispers persisted, growing in intensity until they seemed to fill the room, a cacophony of voices speaking in hushed tones, their words just beyond my comprehension. And then, as suddenly as they had begun, the whispers stopped. The room fell silent once more, the shadows retreating back into the darkness. I stood there, my heart pounding in my chest, my mind reeling with unanswered questions. Who or what had been whispering in room 304? And why had the room been empty for weeks, if there was something or someone lurking within its walls? I left the room, my mind consumed by thoughts of the mysterious whispers. As I continued my rounds, a sense of unease hung over me like a shroud. The hospital, once familiar and comforting, now seemed like a labyrinth of secrets and shadows. Days passed, but the memory of room 304 haunted me, refusing to let me rest. I found myself drawn back to the room, my curiosity overpowering my fear. And each time I entered, the whispers returned, growing louder and more insistent with each visit. I confided in a fellow nurse, Sarah, about my experiences. She listened intently, her brow furrowed in concern. I've heard stories about room 304, she said, her voice low and serious. They say it's haunted, that the spirits of patients who died there still linger. I scoffed at the notion of ghosts, but Sarah's words planted a seed of doubt in my mind. Could it be possible that the whispers were the voices of the dead, trapped in some kind of spectral limbo? Determined to unravel the mystery of room 304, I delved into the hospital archives, searching for any information that could shed light on the room's dark history. What I discovered sent a shiver down my spine. Years ago, room 304 had been the site of a tragic incident. A patient had been admitted with a mysterious illness, one that had stumped even the most skilled doctors. The patient had lingered in room 304 for weeks, their condition deteriorating until they had passed away in agony. But that wasn't the end of the story. Rumors circulated that the patient's spirit had never left room 304, that they still roamed the halls, their whispers a constant presence in the empty room. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I returned to room 304, determined to confront whatever malevolent force lurked within its walls. The whispers began anew as soon as I entered, a torrent of voices speaking in unison, their words echoing with sorrow and despair. I stood in the center of the room, my hands clenched into fists, my eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of the entity that haunted room 304. And then, as if in response to my presence, the shadows coalesced into a swirling mass of darkness, tendrils reaching out towards me like grasping fingers. I froze, the air around me thick with dread. And then a voice, cold and otherworldly, spoke directly into my mind. "Leave this place," it whispered, the words like shards of ice in my soul. "You do not belong here." But I refused to be cowed by the spectral presence. With a trembling voice, I challenged the entity, demanding answers to the questions that had plagued me since that fateful night. To my surprise, the whispers ceased, the shadows receding back into the walls. And then a figure materialized before me, a spectral form, translucent and ethereal, but undeniably human. It was the patient from the hospital archives, their face etched with pain and sorrow. "I am trapped here," they whispered, their voice a mere echo of the person they had once been. "I cannot move on, cannot find peace. Tears welled in my eyes as I listened to the patient's story, their words a lament for a life cut short, for a future stolen away. And in that moment, I knew what I had to do. With a newfound resolve, I reached out to the patient, my hand passing through their ghostly form. "You are not alone," I said, my voice soft but firm. "I will help you find peace, help you move on from this place." And with those words, a brilliant light filled the room, cleansing away the darkness and the whispers. The patient's spirit lingered for a moment, their eyes filled with gratitude, before finally fading away into the light. Room 304 was never haunted again, the whispers silenced for all eternity. And as for me, I knew that I had played a small but crucial role in bringing closure to a soul in need. From that day on, the hospital corridors no longer seemed cold and foreboding. Instead, they were filled with an air of peace and tranquility, a reminder that even in the darkest of places, there is always the possibility of redemption and forgiveness. And as I continued my night shifts at Greenfield Hospital, I carried with me the memory of Room 304, a testament to the enduring power of compassion and empathy in the face of the unknown.